Good morning, everybody. It is your boy, Captain Jack. Welcome back to the channel. You see this remote location we are at. This is home base. And earlier this morning, me and Adventure Man Dan went out on a strike mission. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll on that footage right now.
So I got a little extra neoprene, so Jack's gonna be a little bit warmer versus I've got a full top on. It's like at 2.5 mil, so I'll be pretty good out there today, I think. We're looking pretty good here. We're looking like we're ready to make this run. The Kessel run is a go.
It's like a mile.
Yeah.
So it should be okay. It shouldn't take too long. This is precision spearing. Yeah. Let's go. All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome underwater. If you enjoy these kind of videos, be sure to subscribe, like, and share them with some friends. But we're gonna dive right into this, and we start off really deep, like extremely deep. And we weren't really expecting anything. Just found this wreck using Navionics, and you can kind of see a little glimpse of it, and that's that kind of little shadow down there. But this is kind of the second actual deep drop I do. I did a little like 20-foot drop to kind of scan it out. Looked pretty dead from up high, but I go ahead and make a drop to the top of it, and I'm kind of hoping something might be off into the sand a little farther. Now, I'm not really going for anything huge. I don't want to shoot any giant grouper or guberas or anything like that. I just kind of am doing a recon mission. I know Dan's on top of me up at the surface, having my back, so I'm kind of okay pushing myself, but I go quite deep, a little deeper than I thought. But I kind of just head towards the top of it, and I'm just scanning, looking around, hoping that something either comes into me, some kind of pelagic, or I'm just literally just drifting off into the desert off on the side. And whenever I do that, I actually see a nice mutton. This is the first shot I take on this guy, and well, first shot on this drop. There is a white margate at the bottom, but I pass that guy up, and I'm fixated on this nice mutton out into the sand. And I did that stupid little kick up with the gun instead of just being super rigid and head on. I did like a little jerk whenever I pulled the trigger, and I need to kind of get out of the habit of doing that. But I shot just a hair high, and on these muttons, it's really easy for them to tear out, especially if you're shooting a little high in the meat. But that dive was 91 feet, and stay tuned, the next one is even deeper. Shot high on mutton. Dang it. Yeah, I was trying to go for the stone shot and it tore out. Dang it. So after that, I decide to only be sure of my shot. Like I said to Dan, I was going for stone shot on that guy, and it's a high risk, high reward shot. If you are a little off, most likely the fish will tear out. Realistically, the safest bet would be to shoot towards the gill plate. And you see me reloading, and the gun I'm using actually is a Rob Allen 120 roller. And you can see these in my in the link in the description below. I have a Amazon list, and a ton of my gear that I use is on that list. So if you're interested in anything, feel free to check that out. It gives everything a really good description. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below if you're unsure or if something's not mentioned down there. Always go with the trusty Rob Allen. That's my opinion, and I've been using it ever since I really started getting heavy into diving. So now this is probably maybe about 10 minutes later. I watched Dan do a dive to the top of the wreck. He doesn't see much. I'm feeling really good, and whenever I'm feeling good, I'm really comfortable making deeper drops. And there's times when it's the complete opposite, where I'm not feeling great at all. I just don't push myself. So on this day, I was feeling extremely, good, comfortable, wasn't really pushing myself. Now that I have kind of a lay of the land, and I saw not only that mutton, but I saw a couple other muttons in the distance, as well as a margate. So I kind of was just planning to go to the top basically do the same thing I did before, but I felt super good. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the sand and do a little bit of playing with the fish. And little did I know, I was already at 101 feet. I knew I didn't have a ton of bottom time here, but I was hoping some of those muttons would come in. Realistically, if I had a little bit more bottom time, there's a chance they could have come in. The way they were acting, they were coming in, and then they were kind of veering away from me. And then whenever it came to that point, I figured, all right, I'm probably not gonna get them to come all the way in. And if they did, and I took the shot, and I came into an issue, whether my line was tangled or anything, I would have a hard time coming up if I pushed myself that extra, 20, 30 seconds. So, I mean, I could have done it, but I'd much rather play safe than sorry, and I don't want to have to, make Dan responsible for me if I'm doing something irresponsible, like pushing myself on a dive.
Those buttons would not come in.
So that was probably the most action-packed clips we had of that area. And I was expecting a lot more, but didn't really get into crazy cool fish or any cool experiences. It was just those couple of muttons. But we went into a pinnacle that was really offshore, and there was a bunch of birds diving on it. And same thing, I found this thing off Navionics, hopped in, saw a bunch of barracudas. This is literally my first drop on this place, and as I'm going down, I kind of am scanning the reef, looking at the barracudas. The cudas are that's a little bit of a sign of what's to come later, so stay tuned for that. But I look off and I see what looks like a black grouper in this little crack, and as I get closer, I realize it's not a black, and it's actually a cubera. I was kind of contemplating shooting this guy, but I was like, shoot, he's kind of giving me a really good shot. I went ahead and took the shot right through the gill plate, but for some reason he tore out, and I was really shocked. It was right through the cheek. I have a feeling this fish will live, because come to find out, when I got to the surface, my spear tip was super dull and had hardly any penetration. So, and like I said, Dan thought it was much bigger than it was, but I thought it was only like 20-30 pounds.
What the f was that? A cubera?
That was a big cubera.
Dude, what?
Dang it, my spear isn't sharp because it hit those rocks the other day.
Yeah.
I didn't get full penetration.
How big was that?
He was like 30-40 pounds.
That's a lot bigger than that.
Maybe bigger, I don't know.
A lot bigger than that.
He was just chilling there watching me.
Fuck, dude.
Look at my tip. Like, feel it.
Yeah, mine's not too much better, but yeah.
I think that's where I fudged up. He'll be alright though, it's a flesh one.
Now I'm a little bummed after that drop. At this point we have no fish to our name, and we've been at it probably for about maybe a couple hours. This is literally the second drop after that cubera. I'm hoping for maybe a yellowtail, because I did see quite a few yellowtail on this spot. But you really can't see anything until you make a dive. You can make out the reef, you can make out the cracks and the ledges, but fish you can't make out, and the bottom is probably about in like between 65 and 70 feet all the way to the reef. And I'm kind of just doing some scouting. I'm not, I could go down to the bottom and kick up some sand. Realistically, that probably could be a good idea, but I just descend, I'm not kicking hard down to the bottom, and I'm just like kind of sinking down towards the bottom, leveling out, and here comes a mutton. It comes right into me, and I really take my time on this guy, and I make a really safe shot as well, and I'm only dropping down to about 51 feet. This guy comes right in. Like I said, taking my sweet time, making sure I really land a good shot on this fish so I know we can secure some food for tonight. But yeah, headed up. Dan was right on top of me. Made sure he was making sure he was a really good dive buddy, especially because of all the kudos around, and also because in case I got into some kind of trouble. Really good making sure we have a good diving buddy system. Also, something I really want to touch on is you saw me pull that fish into me. When there's kudas around, it's a really good idea to secure the fish, because you don't know what those things might do and might take a swipe at your fish.
We got dinner. We got our whole cooker.
Yeah, right?
That was the plan. Dude, got a perfect campfire mutton to share with Team Spirit. Decent little guy. Or free spirit. What is it? Spirit animal. Sorry. What did I say? Team Spirit?
Yeah, that works.
Spirit, go!
Spirit animal.
It works. Good work, Jack. Good work, Dan.
Yeah, he had a nice lineup on him. I was watching him, probably 10-second lineup.
Yeah.
So as soon as he took the shot, I was able to go down and be right there for him. And yeah, it's definitely what you want. You want to have your dive buddy on you for that. Or you know, if they take a shot on a fucking 80-pound Cubera.
I don't think it was 80. We'll look at the footage.
I'm curious to see your footage, because like I said, from my perspective, he was the size of you. Like he looked massive. Anyway.
I was like, make sure we don't shoot big fish. But dude, he was like staring at me and I was like, oh, this is so cool.
It was the world record Cubera.
Yeah, world record.
Once we got that mutton secured in the boat, we reset, and there was a tiny bit of current, but we reset, and again, doing another drift on the spot. And honestly, it was probably in the past 3 dives, these 3 dives you saw, I probably made a total of 6 dives. So probably, I guess on technically half of the dives, I get fish. So I'm working my way down to the bottom. I kind of have a sense of a presence sort of behind me. So I quickly turn around and see a nice kingfish coming into me, line up the shot. Took kind of a long shot. I wasn't too sure on the penetration, so I wanted to let him run, but my reel locked up just a little bit. Now, I was running it a little tighter than I should, but whenever it was pulling, like I felt like it was going to tear out of the fish, I started kicking really hard at the fish until I got my reel situated. And at the same time, Dan came down and clipped off his belt reel. But now I don't think he knew that I had a belt reel on. And realistically, what I would do is I would have him hold his belt reel off, and worst case scenario, I use my belt reel, let go of my gun, and he goes ahead and clips onto my belt reel if he had to. So I end up trying to unclip his thing.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you can unclip. Yeah, we're good.
And I basically explained that I'll be good to go. And he was just helping.
Here, baby. Yeah, we got shark control. I'll manage them. Yeah. Yep.
Like I said, he was just helping, trying to make sure that, you know, I got the fish and I needed, you know, any backup, but which is really good. It's really good to make sure you're trying to help out somebody, especially if they have a fish, and you'll see why right now. So it's really hard to see, but a gigantic Barracuda came up and swiped and took the tail off of this guy. You'll see when it comes closer. Really bummed. Kind of messed up the majority of the meat, but we still got a good amount of meat. And we get this guy to the surface. Wild. I've never seen a Barracuda whack a kingfish like this.
It's all good. Kuda got him.
Now, it might seem a little excessive, but I'm still going to bring this guy. You see him struggling. I just want to make sure I put him out of his misery, even though he's definitely going to die because he's almost cut in half. But I just go ahead and brain him just because that's really the way you should handle all of your catch.
Freaking Kuda just annihilated him.
I didn't even see him, and I'm trying to get my belt reel back on. And
Yeah, I know.
I hear like, ah! And I'm like, oh.
I was like, oh shoot! Dude, look at the gnarly teeth marks. No, freaking Barracuda.
What happened, Jack?
Dude, we weren't as quick as the Barracudas were. I got a shot on him, but the Kuda got him. Big boy. Whew. That was awesome. That was crazy.
That was, I gotta fix the belt reel, but my belt reel came off.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so I was trying to...
So after diving that deeper stuff, we decided to go in a little shallower, and this place was absolutely gorgeous. Tons of reef structure, and I make a drop right here, and I wasn't even expecting this. I was kind of going over after this schoolmaster, and a beautiful spotted eagle ray comes in, and I was thinking about shooting this schoolmaster that's facing me right at the point of my gun, which would have been really cool to shoot right next to the spotted eagle ray, but I was kind of just enjoying the moment, and there's sometimes that's what you got to do, you know. There's not every time you're going down you're going to try to kill a fish, and enjoying your time down there is sometimes better than shooting fish. So here's another drop, again a little bit deeper of an area, and we do spear or try to spear some fish in this area, but really it's just, we just keep seeing these amazing sea creatures, and they're so tame, and we're getting a chance to swim with them and hang out with them, and it really makes moments like this special. Like I said, spearing, it's not always about spearing, it's honestly the experiences, the things you get to see underwater. But Dan actually didn't see these eagle rays, and he goes after a kingfish off in the distance, and we kind of have a pretty funny dialogue once we get to the surface.
Oh, there were two giant eagle rays. I was swimming in between both of them. Yeah, he like took off. It's all right.
Making another drop, I handed off my gun to Dan because we found something really special. It is actually a hawksbill turtle. You see on the right side of the screen. These are kind of rare in Florida. Don't see them a ton. Usually we see green turtles and loggerheads, but we saw a baby, and there was also a bigger one earlier. But yeah, what an experience to, you know, just, and like I said, just so tame, and it's so cool seeing stuff like this. Always makes spearfishing worth it, even if you're not getting fish. So here's a little controversial dive. Actually, not controversial, you know, it's kind of a decision thing. I saw a giant dog snapper go into this cave, and in my opinion, it was too big to shoot because of ciguatera. They only grow so big, so this is a very old fish. So I stick my head in this hole, and it's wild because, tell me if it messes with you, because I don't see the fish until like last minute. And it scared the crap out of me. It made a big thud, but I was looking at the lionfish. I was kind of fixated on that, and also all the little bait fish. Didn't even see this guy. But I was contemplating shooting the lionfish, but if you saw from my last video, I didn't want to wreck my spear again.
Did you hear that? What's that? Did you hear that? No. Dude, I was in there, and I was looking right at him. I didn't realize he was right there, and he thudded and just darted.
Oh, I was looking behind us, I was like...
Dude, go ahead and stick your head in that cave. You'll see him. He's huge. Don't shoot him, because I don't think you can eat him.
So Dan makes another drop. We were in the same area. I yelled at him that there was a kingfish, and I threw my throw flasher to try to get it in so he could get a shot. Unfortunately, he just tagged him. It was just out of range for his rifle. But I obviously have to go down, retrieve my flasher, and if you do, you know, if you have the breath hold, if you're, you know, breathe up a little bit, you can always go down, scout the area, do a little grunting, check and see if anything else will come in, so you might be able to get a shot. Unfortunately, nothing on that drop. We kind of start winding things down, heading to the surface, and again, some funny dialogue between Dan and I.
Dude, I set you up for success.
You did everything you could. You made the mistake by setting me up for success.
I should have said Dylan up. I should have said Dylan up.
All right, we made it on shore. Look at that bad boy. That's crazy. I cannot believe I shot that kingfish, and I can't believe the freaking cuda got it. That really sucks. But we're gonna take some pics here and get situated and head back to the boat and make a plan. We got to be men with plans. Man with plans.
I didn't even see the other side. Yeah, that cuda got a hold of him. There's gonna be a lot of sand in that meat now.
Well, we're not gonna eat any of it. All right, you guys, that was a wild adventure. We went to the beach, kind of got all organized. We're waiting on a surprise for you guys. When they show up,
again, we are gonna be doing some gnarly spearfishing. We've been scoping out some areas. There's some like 200-foot drop-offs. So we have some crazy action coming your way. So stay tuned and you will see that surprise guest in just a minute here.
So guys, while we're waiting around, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this video, and stay tuned for next week. We're gonna have part 2 of this one, and you are not gonna wanna miss it.